what has been happening to laundry bleach. It's been going through a lot of changes. Whiteners and brighteners, and this and that, and all kinds of things that are proprietary, so that we can't find out what they have added. And in the past 4 years, I think there's been a little improvement due to certain water experts that I have been in touch with, trying to help me on this project. Without exception. So I'm just taking a figure of 1,000 because I stopped counting at that point. Out of 1,000 cancer patients, 1,000 had laundry bleach. Now, isn't that a strong statistic? And if they were very early cases, stage 1, let's say, and they switched, because that's the first thing I require of every patient. They have to get themselves out of laundry bleach water. I didn't know why. I just knew that it was in there somehow. And by switching them to the good kind of bleached water, they got well. Many of them, just by using the first book, all they had to do was kill the parasite, and they recovered. What with some extra things they were doing, but of all different kinds, the uniform thing was that they switched their water. So in early cases, that's all you have to do. But of course, in more advanced cases, you develop disease, and you have to deal with that too in order to get well. I tried, of course, to figure out what was the element in the water that was causing cancer. And I soon found PCBs. I thought that must be it, but it wasn't. Then I found benzene in the water, and I found asbestos in the water, all of which was not present in the other half of the water supply, in the good water supply. I found a number of azo dyes, those which were already banned in the 40s and taken out of any food use. The one, for instance, that we used to use to color margarine, that has been removed, but it's in the water of this laundry bleached variety. Sudan black, a terribly toxic dye, used only in the histology business, where you stain tissues, but maybe also in the fabric business, I don't know that. And why would that be in the laundry bleach? It's there in every case. And it has accumulated in cancer patients. Those dyes have accumulated because they couldn't get out through the kidneys. The liver was trying to detoxify it and make it possible to go through, but not everybody is taking coenzyme Q10 and vitamin B2 in large amounts to detoxify large amounts of dye that they're drinking and eating, because the food is made with the water. And all of Africa at that time, every sample I got had this bad bleach in it. Now, about 2 or 3 years ago, I got some samples with the good bleach in it, so I know that other water sources have arrived in Africa, but they had not until then. So we know why we have this debacle in Africa. I also looked at malonic acid, because that's in the bad bleach. I looked, and one day I found wheel-bearing grease in it. And then I searched them all. It was something I had missed. How could you ever guess that your water has wheel bearing grease and motor oil of the usual kind, not some special little amount. Just go to any automotive store, buy any brand, and you'll find that in your drinking water if you're in that half of the population that's getting that water. And there were about 40 heavy metals, and since that is very difficult to work with one at a time, I put them all together into a set I called the heavy metal set. And they were in the bad water, but not the good. Still, I was not satisfied because I did not know what was the real cause. Because if I looked at any one of those, they were not 100% present in the cancer patient. So I knew that I still had not found the actual item in the bad bleach water that was causing the cancer. And then just by accident, somebody helped me find it. That person isn't here. He's a radio amateur operator, and he gave me the clue. He said that his wife had just gotten cancer, and in fact he was going to come down immediately. I said, yes, do. And he said he had to take her to the hospital first because she had certain symptoms that couldn't wait. And I said, yes, do. And she never got out. She was gone in a week to 10 days. And he was heartbroken. He was absolutely devastated. And he had sent me a Geiger Miller counter from his wartime days. And he had a couple of counters. He sent them to me and said, I checked my wife's chest. And she had lung cancer. So I tested my wife's chest, and it was higher than background. You know, nothing should be higher than background unless there's some active source. The background radiation is just what we all are getting. I'm not saying it's okay, but it is the average, so that if you want to test and see whether something is radioactive or not, you have to compare it to the background. And he had done that, and he said that I'm definitely seeing something right on her chest that's higher than background. I didn't believe it, to tell the truth. I thought that he just didn't count long enough to make the statistics significant enough, because you do have to do that. But I accepted the challenge anyway, got myself a handheld counter and tried it on a couple of lung cancer cases that I had right there. And they were higher than background, but I couldn't believe it either. Couldn't believe my own results because I thought I hadn't counted long enough to make the statistics significant. I would have to count much longer, and I didn't have that amount of time, like 2 hours or 3 hours of sitting steadily holding my counter against that person's bone sternum is where it was. But I thought that, well, then after his wife died, I thought I would pursue it a little bit more, and just accidentally found a lot more information than I had thought there was. So this is now the little handheld unit that anybody can buy, and when I demonstrate this later on, I'll show you how to use it. It's quite easy to use. little handheld device which goes click, 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 and the light shines for every click, and it adds it for you. So it counts time for you, and it adds the clicks for you. So after 10 minutes, it shuts itself off, and you could calculate how many clicks per minute. Pretty easy. First, you look at the background and see how much that is, and it'll be around 400 to 450. Somewhere in there is the background. Counts for a 10-minute time period would be around 400 to 450. So, having failed to find the cause in the bleached water, I thought maybe it's radioactive. So, because that was something that was newly becoming a part of the whole picture for cancer patients. And I'm still on that odyssey, but meanwhile I have discovered how the system works.